Has Belal Muhammad ever faced anyone like Ian Garry? Of course. Leon Edwards and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson are the closest, in my opinion. They pose similar threats, especially when it comes to the kick game. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is probably a better striker than both Ian Garry and Leon Edwards. And I don't want to hear anyone bring up age, because that same Wonderboy only won one more fight after that, yes, but that doesn't tell the full story. The Kevin Holland win isn't that legitimate because Kevin broke his hand and was piecing him up before that. But in his last two fights, that being against Gabriel Bonfim and Joaquin Buckley, he got robbed by Gabriel Bonfim. There's no way you can convince me that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson didn't win at least 2 rounds in that fight. And against Joaquin Buckley, he was winning going into the third on the scorecards of not only the fans, but the judges himself. And all he had to do was not get knocked out. But unfortunately, he got knocked out. Wonderboy was 38 when he fought Belal, and I know that some of you probably want to discredit him for that win, but that's just not fair. Wonderboy is one of those few fighters that managed to somewhat defeat Father Time, and looking at his performances, it's pretty hard to argue against that. Now, with Belal's performance against Wonderboy, I think it's safe to say that if that Belal fought Ian Garry of nowadays, there's a chance that he'd be able to ragdoll him for 3 rounds. And I'm only referring to the younger Belal because right now he's 37, and there's a chance that his decline has already begun, but he just so happened to beat Leon Edwards and have a competitive fight with JDM. Competitive in a sense that they were having some even striking exchanges at times, but JDM won at least 3 rounds. But I digress. Wonderboy is not someone you want to give a lot of space to. We saw the head kicks he was landing on Joaquin Buckley and Gabriel Bonfim. You cannot fight Wonderboy at mid and long range, especially long. Belal knows this very well, and that's why he had the high guard throughout all of the striking exchanges, especially when he was entering mid and close range. But he wasn't there trying to kickbox with one of the best kickboxers in the UFC. He was there to pressure Wonderboy and take him down. And no one does this better than Belal Muhammad, aside from a few other names maybe. It's the same way he beat Leon Edwards. Leon is good when you play on his terms. And it's not like Wonderboy didn't have any success. He landed an occasional head kick with both his rear and lead leg. But Belal's high guard was so efficient, so he never took that much damage. And the thing with Wonderboy is he's a switch stance fighter. And no one does it better than Wonderboy, aside from a few other names like Peter Yan, Israel Adesanya, Sean O'Malley, and so forth. So that fight was probably some of the best experience Belal could have got before facing Ian Garry. And Ian Garry's head kicks are also very good. We saw how he finished Daniel Rodriguez, and he was landing it seamlessly on a 6-1 Carlos Prates. But Carlos also game planned well because he had the high guard the whole time. So I'm 100% sure Belal Muhammad is going to have that high guard in his training camp. So I highly doubt Belal is going to get knocked out by Ian. It's just unlike him. And another person who's landed the head kick on Belal Muhammad is Leon Edwards. It landed, but it wasn't that flush. Now, there is a chance that Ian Garry could find home with it on Belal's temple and perhaps knock him out, but that just seems unlikely, especially considering that there'll be a lot of wrestling exchanges. And there's a whole lot of other weapons Leon Edwards has in his arsenal. One of the few he did manage to use against Belal were his low kicks, body kicks, but it meant absolutely nothing. Belal was just walking through them. Now, have we explored every weapon in Ian Garry's arsenal? Let's run through every single one of them. Firstly, it's his straight punches. Ian is very long, standing at 6'3". His reach is actually not that long. My reach is actually longer than his, even though I'm 6'1". His is 74, mine is 77, so I'll beat his ass in a fight. I'm joking, guys. Ian is going to be looking to land his ones, his 1-2s, and he's exceptionally good at it. Remember his fight against Neil Magny? If I'm not mistaken, Neil has one of, if not the longest reach in the entire welterweight division. It's over 80 inches, and that's very impressive. But it didn't matter because Ian was the one who was landing his 1s and 1-2s. Now, of course, it's because Neil is just not that fast. He's not the best striker, so he might have all the attributes, but he lacks the skill. I think Wonderboy has better straight punches than Ian Garry. I just feel like Wonderboy's blitzes are very overwhelming, and that's why Belal had no desire to strike with him. He was just going for the takedowns. Fortunately, Wonderboy's takedown defense was not good enough. If Wonderboy had the takedown defense of JDM, man, Belal was going to get smoked that night. Ian Garry has never been that much of a combo guy, and I don't think it's because he lacks the ability. He just prefers to play it safe, especially when he's going up against power punches like Carlos Prates or Belal Muhammad, who can take him down. He's probably going to try to stay on the outside. If you remember his fight against Song Kanon, he did try to go to the body, and that was his downfall, but luckily he didn't get knocked out. So he probably has PTSD from that whole experience. Now, when it comes to low kicks, you have to keep in mind that Wonderboy probably has a lot of limitations. When your stance is that bladed, I think it's hard to throw a really thudding low kick, or at least it's going to be very telegraphed. And it's not like Wonderboy had any intentions of attempting low kicks against Belal, who can easily catch it and transition into a single. And we've already established that Ian is a very safe fighter, so I doubt he's going to be looking for the low kick. Even the high kick, I'm not very confident that he's going to be throwing it as frequently as he was in his fights against Carlos Prates, Daniel Rodriguez, and any other fight pretty much. But if there's one kick Ian Garry has in his arsenal that I find very useful, and he's been using it since he was in Cage Warriors, it's his switch kick. And if you remember one of the finishing sequences from a Cage Warriors fight he shielded that switch kick with the jab, had his opponent duck into the kick, and then he landed the switch kick. Best case scenario, Ian sticks to his jabbing for the first 2 rounds, then out of nowhere lands the switch kick. It is going to catch Belal off guard, but the question is, will Ian Garry be able to stuff the takedowns? That's a video for another day, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.